Hi, this is a quick video to show you guys how to draw a roller coaster design for the roller coaster energy project. So this is a printout uh, of the project directions. The first two things here, the overview and objective, you don't really need to, I mean, they're important, but like not specifically for what we're doing here. We're going to focus primarily on this section, which is just part one, designing. So I don't care what you use to build this. I'm assuming that most people will be using paper or cardboard to make this because I assume that most people don't have like Hot Wheels tracks laying around. If you have Hot Wheels tracks, like the toy cars that, are usually sold with like tracks and stuff, if you have those, you can use it. If not, you can use paper, and we are going to go over how to use paper to build a roller coaster track next week, but for now we're focusing on the design. So the minimum specifications that you need are you need to have at least 5 segments of track, and it needs to be about 50 inches long, which if you're using paper, 5 segments would get you to 55 inches. So you'll hit this 50-inch minimum if you're using paper. The next thing is your starting point has to be highest, like you can see in this example drawing. The starting point up here is higher than the ending point. And then the ending point, the end, must be the lowest point. So the directions are to take a piece of standard paper, like this. Take a piece of standard paper and draw out your plan. Individual segments of track must be shown, which means it has to be drawn at scale. How do you draw something at scale? There are lots of different methods to drawing something at scale, but the way to do it without using a bunch of math is to do this. So first, just take a ruler or a straight edge, something with a straight edge, and draw a floor. Okay, so there's my floor, and I'm gonna put a line over here, and I'm gonna label this end point. So that's the end of my track. Then I'm gonna come up to the top left, and I'm going to draw a dot here, and I'm going to call this my start. So now I know that I'm going to go from here to here. How do I get there? Well, let's figure it out. So you're going to make this to scale without using math, you're going to need something like a rubber band, a wire, or some string. Wire is nice to use because when you bend it into a shape, it often will stay pretty much in that shape quite easily. So wire is nice to use. However, I expect that most people don't have wires laying around, so I won't show you how to do that. Rubber bands are actually pretty hard to use because they always want to snap back into their original shape. So that makes rubber bands not the best, so we'll put that away. String is like a happy medium. It's pretty easy to use, and it's easily accessible. You could use even just like threads from your clothes. If you have like a loose thread, you could just pull out a small length. For this, I would say about like 1.5 inches to 2 inches. So that's like 1.25 inches. So we'll go about there. It doesn't really matter the amount, just as long as it's a pretty small piece, right? So this particular piece is, yeah, just about 1.5 inches, a little over 1.5 inches. So that's a pretty good space, though you could make it a little bit longer. The smaller you make this, the more sections of track that you're going to have. Because basically what we're saying here is we're going to use this as our scale. And we're saying this distance equals one paper or one segment, right? That's going to be one segment of track. So the great thing about string is that no matter which way you bend it, the actual length does not change. So I could bend it like this, and the total length of this string has not changed, just the shape, which is how segments of tracks work. They just bend the segments, but the length of the segments doesn't change. So that makes this a good way to draw something to scale without using math. So the way to actually do this then is to just, lay it down, draw a line for your endpoint, draw make a couple dots along the side, so that way you get the general shape, and then you can bend it to whatever shape you would like. So I'll do a downward bend. You can move your fingers to get into the spots that you need, so you can see that bend. Oh, that should be a line here. Now I'm going to bend it the other way. Endpoint, couple in between points. And you can even draw a little ramp. That should be a line too. Okay, so you can see there's a ramp. Okay, so from here, what you just do is you connect the dots. Okay, so now I can see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 segments of track. The final segment here is just very small. And then I'm going to go through and figure out, well, how much support will I need to hold up my track? And it seems, oh, there it is, I found it. So I'm going to take my string and I'm just going to draw in some supports here. How many papers do I need for support? So 4. It's like 2 and a little bit. Two. Okay. So then from there, just connect those lines. And so I can count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, about 12 segments of support. Okay, and there you go. That's how you draw a roller coaster plan to scale. And this here is a jump.